I'm going to tell you now that beforehand, I had told my viewers how a proper launch should go. All right. And it was just miraculously a coincidence that this launch happened to go that way. All right. It literally happened to go that way. They brought it home completely. Like completely. They did exactly what should be done when you're going to do a launch. If you want to keep people's attention, if you want to not lose your audience, if you want people to stay engaged, and you want people to take away probably what at least these launches are facilitated to do. And McLaren did that. So I'm telling you, it is by far the best launch right now that we've had. And the car looks gorgeous. All right. The scheme looks gorgeous. It's not that the scheme is entirely different than the MCL 36. It's not that it's that, but it is. And by the way, the 60 is them celebrating 60 years of race inspired heritage and history. But they did incorporate a little bit more of the powder blue, which I was hoping they would do. But what McLaren did, and we'll talk about some things that I think about the car in a second. McLaren came in right. They came in with the montage, the video, the short clips. Then they came in with their host. I said that they probably would come in with the CEO and the team principal and then the drivers, but they came in with the drivers first. But they had the car consistently real time there in the background. All right, real time there in the background, brought the drivers out so we could hear a little bit about what the drivers have been doing, what they're looking forward to, but they kept it short and sweet. Then they brought the team principal and the CEO out. All right. Brought them out. They talked about boom, sweet, short and sweet, what they were looking for. They got a new team principal that they brought up through their ranks. So in-house bring up promotion. And then they took us to the car. So showing the car and then a video on the out. It was short, sweet. Inside of 30 minutes, McLaren managed to do what most of these other teams should have done inside of 30 minutes. And they did everything else right. All right, so right now, up until this point in time, what's up, Galactic, Sylvia, Kelly? Williams was the best reveal. Alfa Romeo had an opportunity to be in the running, and then they went long at the tooth, and they lost us all. Red Bull was a snooze fest. It was a long snooze fest. It wasn't a snooze. It was literally going to bed, good night, wake up, it's good morning. AlphaTauri was, I can't even go to sleep fast enough not to see this dumb shit. It was not great at all. And Haas, they did what Haas things do. It was out quick, short, simple. At least it wasn't long. But McLaren did an absolutely wonderful job at their car launch, livery launch, whatever you want to call it. But I would like to point out some things that I did happen to notice that are seeming to be a running trend right now, and it should be. When you have performing cars, just like we had BWT, you had the pink Mercedes, you had the green Bull. Teams are going to take bits and pieces from other cars that have definitely performed well. Now, I know Ferrari made a bunch of mistakes and they dropped the ball, and we'll be here live tomorrow for Ferrari. But before that, we'll be here live again today for the Aston Martin launch, which is happening in less than about an hour and a half. We're going to be live for that here on the channel. So set your reminders for that. But I can't help but notice these side pods are either resembling Ferrari swept back inlet look or Red Bull's up front kind of nostril concave can fall in to the inlet look, and that nice cutout in between to direct that airflow, which Adrian Newey and the engineering team over Red Bull definitely hit on a sweet spot for the new regulations. Teams are taking some notes from there and applying them to their new designs for 2023. I think McLaren is a bit more towards the Red Bull design. We saw that Alfa Romeo and Haas definitely a bit more towards the Ferrari design of side pod. Of course, Haas, because that was deemed the white Ferrari in 2022. So that's no surprise there. But I think that's going to be a running thing aside from where we're questioning what we will see from Mercedes. I think that's where a bigger question is. Are we going to see something similar of the W13, or is Mercedes going to kind of fall into the trend that has definitely been productive and showed pace and go to a more current side pod look as the Ferrari and the Red Bull? Okay. Will they do that? Or has Mercedes found and unlocked that potential that they so-called claimed was there in 2022, and they just had to get a handle on it? They had to realize what they actually had, find a way to actually make it work, and we saw progression through the season that would give us that evidence to say possibly. Now we want to see in 2023, is it certainly? Did they what they learned in 2022, were they able to capture that, manipulate that, and apply it to be productive? Because all other cars, I believe, are going to either look similar to Red Bull side pod design or Ferrari side pod design, and for a very big reason. And in that reason is why also, if Mercedes get it right and they manage to outperform the other designs, is why they might put themselves in a big risk, big reward situation. But it also could be a flip side to that coin, in a big risk, no reward situation. You could possibly risk chunking another season down the drain. 2022 was indeed that. We don't want to see that for 2023. And a big reason for that is not just because if you're a Mercedes fan, but are you a fan of the sport? Are you a fan of competition? Are you a fan of going into a race week, not knowing who's going to come out the victor, not knowing who's going to grab that pole position, seeing them fight it out in the sprint? In order for that to happen, we need multiple cars, multiple teams involved competitively on the grid, showing us great race pace, similar to what we saw in Silverstone in 2022. That is what we are looking forward to. All right. That is what we're doing. And as it sits right now, these teams have decided that, hey, our designs weren't quite there. Red Bull's design was, and we even had Aston Martin deemed the Green Bull so much that they copied the RB18, and didn't copy its performance at all. All right, so we did see that. So it's going to be interesting to see, what does the Aston Martin look like? Is the Aston Martin even more so going to be a Green Bull, or have they decided to deviate a little bit and go towards the Ferrari side of the fence? That is something that we're going to be seeing with their car launch. Now, I already did a video with the Alfa Romeo, the C43, showing you the major differences or changes or iterations that can happen from seeing the launch car to actually seeing the real car that hit the track via Bottas. And we saw, and I showed you some differences there. I showed you some. There were quite a few other differences there involved, but I showed you some, and we'll also get into some other cars that we'll be looking at some differences, and likely Mercedes will be one of those cars, because I think across the board, no matter if you're a Mercedes fan or not, you're highly awaiting to see what they're going to do, what kind of design and package they're going to bring. Did they ditch the slim down side pods? Because I hate when people say no side pods. There's a damn side pod there. Did they ditch the slim down side pod and go more to what is trendy right now, or have they found something and unlocked something that they thought and found there, and it will stick to that slim down side pod with a little bit of variation, and definitely manipulating and controlling more airflow to give them a better performing car? That is what we want to see. That is what we want to know. And we will see that come Wednesday. But before that, we're going to see McLaren. We saw McLaren today. We're going to see Aston Martin just in hours from now. And then tomorrow for Valentine's Day, we will be here live for Ferrari. And then Wednesday, we're damn sure going to be here live for the Mercedes. So that's what I think about the McLaren, a bit more toward Red Bull side. I like the way they incorporated the powder blue. Definitely did a far better job thus far on their car launch than any other team. Aston Martin has a tough act to follow. Ferrari is definitely going to be held with their feet to the fire, and Mercedes is going to be no different. All right, given what happened in 2022, okay? So we'll see what happens. I'll see you here live shortly soon. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining this live. Join us for the Aston Martin reveal in hours. Go to the channel, set your reminders so you get notified when we go live for that, because we're going to be here real soon. I'm working. I'm putting in work. I'm telling you, I'll be here passionate about what I do. Guaranteed, all right? So see you soon. Peace.